Millionaire sees Nanny defending his disabled daughter and discovers something unexpected. Daniel Carter, a successful architect living in a quiet town in Massachusetts, had long grown accustomed to lonely evenings in his spacious home. Ever since his wife's death a few years earlier, he had poured all his love into his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. A car accident 2 years ago had taken away Lily's ability to walk, confining her to a wheelchair. Since then, her smile had faded, replaced by shyness and sadness in her eyes. Daniel had hired many nannies, but all had failed. They either treated Lily with pity or with excessive caution, making her feel like a burden. Until 3 months ago, when Emma Brooks arrived, everything began to change. Emma, a woman in her early 30s, slender but with determined eyes, seemed ordinary at first. Daniel only hoped she would last longer than the previous nannies. But from the very beginning, Lily sensed something different about Emma. One crisp autumn afternoon, Daniel returned home earlier than usual. As his car turned into the stone driveway, he heard sharp voices coming from the back garden. Stepping out, he frowned and listened. In the garden, Lily sat in her wheelchair under the gentle sunlight. Emma was beside her, holding a picture book. But standing across from them was Mrs. Hargrove, their wealthy neighbor, known for her arrogance. Her shrill voice rang out, "Emma, I cannot believe Mr. Carter allows that child to sit out here like this. The view from my property is ruined. A child in a wheelchair right in plain sight. It's unpleasant." Lily lowered her head, tiny hands gripping the armrest tightly. Emma immediately bent down, holding the little girl protectively. Though her hands trembled slightly, her voice came out firm and steady. "You have no right to speak about a child that way. Lily has every right to be outdoors, to enjoy the sunlight and fresh air, just like anyone else." Mrs. Hargrove's eyes widened. "How dare you speak back to me? I'll be sure to tell Mr. Carter about this insolence." Emma lifted her chin, staring straight into the woman's eyes without flinching. "Go ahead. I would rather lose my job than let anyone humiliate Lily in front of me." From behind a tree, Daniel watched the scene unfold. An unfamiliar surge of emotion welled up within him. In all these years, no one had ever defended his daughter with such courage. Lily slowly raised her head, her eyes shimmering as she whispered, "Thank you for protecting me. No one has ever done that for me before." Those words struck Daniel like a blow to the chest. He had never heard his daughter speak with such trust. Mrs. Hargrove stormed away, throwing one last threat over her shoulder. "You'll regret this." Emma still held Lily close, gently stroking the girl's golden hair, whispering, "Don't listen to her, Lily. You are perfect just the way you are." "But why are some people mean to kids like me?" Lily asked innocently, gazing up at Emma with wide eyes. For a moment, Emma's throat tightened, her eyes glistening, but she answered softly, "Some people can't see the beauty inside each of us. But that's their problem, not yours." At that moment, Daniel stepped forward, pretending he had just arrived. "Sorry to interrupt. Enjoying the sunshine out here?" Emma quickly stood, straightening her uniform. "Yes, Mr. Carter. I thought Lily should get some fresh air. I hope you don't mind." Daniel smiled faintly, his gaze fixed on the radiant smile that had returned to his daughter's face. "Not at all. In fact, I think it's a wonderful idea." In that instant, Daniel realized Lily's rare, genuine smile had returned because of Emma, and he could never forget the sight he had just witnessed, a stranger willing to risk her job to protect his little girl. Since that autumn afternoon, Daniel began to observe Emma more closely. He noticed a striking change in Lily. His daughter had grown more cheerful and lively. In the past, Lily often sat silently in her room, her eyes staring blankly out the window. But since Emma arrived, giggles had returned to the house that had once been so quiet. Emma had a very different approach from the previous nannies. Instead of doing everything for Lily, she gently encouraged the girl to try small things on her own. One morning, as Daniel walked past the living room, he overheard Emma saying, "Lily, try reaching for that book over there. I know you can do it." "But I won't be able to." Lily's voice was hesitant. "Just try. It's okay. If it doesn't work, we'll find another way." Daniel paused at the doorway, quietly watching. Lily frowned with concentration, stretching as far as she could. Her small hands trembled, but at last, the book fell into her grasp. "I did it, Emma! I did it!" Lily squealed with excitement. Her laughter echoed through the room, making Daniel smile unconsciously. He realized how many times before he had simply fetched things for his daughter without ever giving her a chance. Emma was different. She gave Lily confidence in her own abilities. Not only did she encourage, but Emma also found creative ways to entertain Lily. One evening, Daniel returned home late and was surprised to hear music drifting from Lily's room. When he opened the door, his heart tightened at the sight. Emma sat beside Lily, teaching her to tap on the small piano keys. The girl's tiny hands pressed down with eager concentration. "You're doing so well, Lily. Music can take us farther than our legs ever could," Emma said with a gentle smile. Lily looked up. "Like I'm flying?" "Yes, you're flying with your heart." Daniel stood still, watching the radiant joy on his daughter's face. It had been so long since her eyes had sparkled like that. In the days that followed, the change became even more evident. Lily began talking more, sometimes even humming softly. Meals that had once been silent were now filled with chatter and laughter. One day, as they sat together at dinner, Lily suddenly asked, "Miss Emma, if I fall out of my wheelchair, will you pick me up?" Emma smiled, answering gently, "I'll always be right there to make sure you don't get hurt. But first, I'll let you try to get up on your own, because every time you do it by yourself, you'll grow stronger." Daniel froze at that answer. There was no pity in Emma's tone, only sincere encouragement. Later, back in his study, Daniel found himself replaying those words in his mind. He realized that Emma wasn't just caring for Lily as part of her job. She truly believed in the little girl, seeing in her things that even he, her own father, sometimes failed to see. And that was giving his daughter something he thought had been lost forever: confidence and happiness. In the weeks that followed, Daniel grew increasingly impressed by the way Emma cared for Lily. She wasn't just doing the duties of a nanny. Every gesture, every word, carried a rare patience and understanding. One weekend morning, Daniel happened to see Emma guiding Lily through some stretching exercises. "Keep your shoulder steady, Lily. Now try lifting your arm a little higher. Perfect. You're doing it." Daniel froze. These movements looked strikingly similar to professional physical therapy he had seen in hospitals. When he asked, Emma only smiled. "Every child needs to move to stay healthy. I just want Lily to feel that her body can still do many things." The answer sounded simple, but Daniel sensed there was more beneath the surface. At dinner one evening, he tried probing gently. "Emma, I've noticed how patient you are with Lily. Have you ever cared for children with special needs before?" Emma paused briefly, her eyes flickering with hesitation, then replied shortly, "I have some experience, Mr. Carter, just from a few short courses." Daniel nodded, but he could tell her voice wasn't fully convincing. Her response felt like a wall, blocking further questions. The following night, as Daniel was preparing for bed, Lily knocked softly on his door. She whispered, "Daddy, can I tell you something?" Daniel pulled her onto the bed beside him. "Of course, sweetheart. What is it?" Lily fidgeted with her hands, then said quietly, "Last night I woke up in the middle of the night. I saw Miss Emma sitting at the desk, looking at her phone and crying. On the screen, there was a picture of a little girl. She looked a lot like me." Daniel stiffened. "Like you? Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. She had blonde hair like mine. Miss Emma was crying so hard. I didn't know what to do, so I pretended to go back to sleep. Lily looked up, her eyes wide with innocence. Daddy, does Miss Emma have a daughter? Why would she cry looking at that picture? Daniel hugged his daughter close, gently patting her back. Inside, a storm of emotions swirled: suspicion, compassion, and curiosity. He didn't want to worry Lily, so he only said softly, "Maybe it's something personal for Miss Emma. Don't think too much about it, okay?" But after Lily had fallen asleep, Daniel sat alone for a long time. The image of Emma silently crying over that photo pierced his heart. What pain was she hiding? And why had she chosen to become his daughter's nanny? That night, Daniel knew one thing for certain. Emma Brooks was far from the simple, ordinary woman she tried so hard to appear. Curiosity would not let Daniel rest. The fragments, the way Emma guided Lily like a professional therapist, the fleeting sadness in her eyes when family was mentioned, and Lily's story about the photograph, all pushed him to dig deeper. One Monday morning, while Emma took Lily to her physical therapy session, Daniel called an old friend, now a private investigator in Boston. "I need you to look into Emma Brooks, my daughter's nanny." His friend sounded surprised. "Is something wrong?" "Not exactly," Daniel hesitated. "I just feel she's hiding something, and I need to know the truth, for my daughter's sake." 3 days later, a thick folder arrived at Daniel's office. His hands trembled as he opened it. Emma Brooks, real name, Emma Collins. Former occupation, pediatric nurse at a major hospital in Boston. Record flawless, colleagues described her as one of the most devoted in her field. But the next page made Daniel's hands freeze. Headline, 3 years ago. Tragedy. Nurse loses 4-year-old daughter in car accident. Sophie Collins pronounced dead at the scene. Beneath it was a photo. Emma, eyes hollow with despair, clutching a small teddy bear as if it were her last lifeline. Daniel snapped the file shut, drawing a sharp breath. His heart ached. Emma had once had a daughter. And lost her? A little girl who looked strikingly like Lily. That night, after Lily was asleep, Daniel found Emma in the living room, arranging books on the shelf. She looked up in surprise as he entered, his face tense. "Emma, we need to talk." She straightened nervously. "Yes, Mr. Carter. Is something wrong?" Daniel sat across from her, his voice steady but firm. "I looked into your past. I know your real name is Emma Collins, and I know about Sophie." Emma froze as if struck, her face drained of color, her lips trembling. The book slipped from her hand as she clutched her chest, trying to hold herself together. How do you know?" Her voice cracked. "I didn't mean to invade your privacy, but I had to know who was with my daughter. And when I found out, I only wanted to understand you." Tears welled up in Emma's eyes. She sank into the chair, no longer trying to hide. "I'm sorry. I should have told you from the beginning, but I was afraid. If you knew I had lost a child, you'd never hire me." Daniel remained silent, letting her speak. "Sophie was everything to me. When she was 3, an accident left her unable to walk. I spent every day learning how to help her through therapy. I became the best nurse not because of school, but because I had to fight for my own daughter." Her voice broke. She was improving so much. She could sit up by herself, even practiced piano. But then, another accident happened. A car lost control, and Sophie didn't survive. Emma covered her face with her hands, her whole body trembling. I couldn't bear going back to the hospital, where every corner reminded me of her. I changed my name, left Boston, hoping for a new start. But my heart has carried a void that nothing could fill. Daniel sat quietly, his throat tight. He handed her a tissue gently. "Emma, I'm truly sorry. No one deserves that kind of pain." She lifted her tearful gaze. Then I saw the ad for Lily's nanny, a special little girl, just like Sophie. I felt it was a sign that my daughter, though gone, wanted me to keep loving, to keep caring for another child. A sad smile crossed her lips. Lily saved me, Mr. Carter. I'm not trying to replace Sophie. No one could. But Lily gave me a reason to keep living. Daniel looked at her for a long time, his heart aching yet full of respect. He realized it was Emma's loss that made her so fiercely protective of Lily. And perhaps, through Emma, he too was learning how to heal his own wounds. For a brief while, the Carter household seemed to breathe easier. Lily laughed more, Daniel felt lighter, and Emma moved through the home with a quiet grace, as if her burden had finally been shared. But peace never lasts forever. Just as life began to feel stable again, another storm was already gathering on the horizon. On a rainy afternoon, while Emma and Lily were building a puzzle in the living room, the front door suddenly opened. Daniel had just stepped down the stairs when he froze. The woman standing there made his chest tighten. Claire, Lily's biological mother. Claire had disappeared right after the accident 2 years earlier. No farewell, no phone calls. Daniel had raised his daughter alone ever since, and now she stood before them, elegant in appearance, but with conflicted eyes. "Daniel," Claire said, her voice shaky but firm, "I've come to take Lily." Silence fell heavy in the room. Lily looked up, confusion in her eyes. Emma instinctively clasped the little girl's hand tighter. Daniel gripped the stair rail, his tone cold. "Take Lily? After abandoning her for 2 years, now you remember you're her mother?" Claire bit her lip, her gaze pained. "You don't understand. That accident, the guilt crushed me. I couldn't face her. But now I've found an opportunity. There's a renowned rehabilitation center in New York. She'll have the best doctors, the most advanced equipment. I want her to have a better life." "A better life?" Daniel let out a bitter laugh. "Lily is happy here. She doesn't need some distant place. She needs a real mother, not one who walked away when she needed you most." Claire stepped toward Lily, kneeling, forcing a tender smile. "Sweetheart, it's Mommy. I'll take you to a wonderful place. You'll have everything there." But Lily recoiled, clinging to Emma's hand. Her small voice trembled. "I don't want to go. I want to stay with Daddy and Miss Emma." The words cut through Claire like a blade. Her face tightened before she masked it with cold resolve. "Lily, you don't understand. This is for your own good." Lily burst into tears, throwing her arms around Emma. "Please don't make me go. I don't want to leave Emma." Emma bent down, holding the child close, soothing gently. "No one can force you to do something you don't want, Lily. Breathe with me, sweetheart. You're safe." Daniel stepped forward, placing himself between them. "Claire, don't frighten her anymore. If you want to discuss this, we'll do it privately, not in front of Lily." Claire rose, her eyes burning with determination. "Fine. But be prepared, Daniel. I will fight for custody. I'll take Lily to where she truly belongs." The door slammed shut behind her, leaving a heavy silence. Lily sobbed quietly in Emma's arms while Daniel clenched his fists. He knew a brutal legal battle was about to begin. After Claire stormed out, the atmosphere in the Carter household grew heavy. Lily refused to let go of Emma's embrace, her wide eyes still trembling with fear, as if terrified her mother might return at any moment to drag her away. Daniel sat close by, his chest aching as he watched the fragile shoulders of his daughter quiver. That night, after Lily finally drifted to sleep in Emma's arms, Daniel stepped out onto the balcony. The glow of the street lamp cast shadows across his troubled face. He knew Claire hadn't spoken idly. Once she had made up her mind, she would pursue every means possible, even the courts, to claim custody of Lily. Emma joined him, gently placing a blanket over his shoulders. Her eyes were weary, but unwavering. "Mr. Carter, we need to prepare. Claire won't give up easily." Daniel nodded slowly, his voice low and heavy. "And I won't let her tear Lily away from us, but I fear the road ahead will be very hard." They stood in silence beneath the night sky, both fully aware that the battle for Lily had officially begun, and it would test everything: their love, their faith, and the strength of their hearts. In the days that followed, tension hung heavy over the Carter household. Daniel had already contacted his lawyer, but just as he feared, Claire quickly filed for custody of Lily. The court hearing moved swiftly. Claire and her attorney arrived with complete documentation, arguing that Daniel, a busy father, had left his disabled daughter in the care of someone without medical qualifications. In the court's records, Emma was listed only as a nanny. Daniel tried to counter, showing how happy and how much progress Lily had made. But Claire's lawyer struck the weak point. Emma was not officially employed as a registered nurse. The judge's gavel struck, the sound echoing like a sentence of doom. Temporary custody of Lily Carter will be granted to her biological mother, Mrs. Claire Carter, until further evidence is presented. For a moment, silence suffocated the courtroom. Daniel sat frozen, his ears ringing, unable to believe what he had just heard. Then reality crashed in. He turned and saw Lily sobbing uncontrollably in Emma's arms. "I don't want to go. Please don't make me go," Lily screamed, her tiny hands clutching Emma's shirt. Claire stepped forward, her expression a mixture of pride and unease. "Lily, Mommy will take care of you. You'll thank me one day." "No, I only want to stay here with Daddy and Emma," Lily wailed, her grip on Emma so tight her knuckles turned white. Emma held her close, tears streaming down her face. She whispered into Lily's ear, "Do you remember our promise? No matter where you are, I love you, and I will do everything to bring you back. Don't let them take me." Lily's cries tore through the courtroom, breaking every heart present. At last, a court officer gently pried Lily from Emma's arms. The child's scream, "Emma!" echoed down the hallway, leaving everyone shaken. After the hearing, the Carter home fell into a haunting silence. Lily's room stood empty, her toys untouched, as if they too were waiting for her return. Daniel sat motionless in his study, an unopened bottle of whiskey on the desk. He had never felt so powerless. Emma entered, her eyes swollen from tears but burning with determination. "We can't give up, Mr. Carter. Lily needs us more than ever." Daniel looked up, his voice raw. "Watching her being taken away, I felt like I lost everything. But you're right. We'll fight. Whatever it takes, we'll bring Lily back." The two clasped hands tightly. Amid their grief, a fire of resolve ignited. They would not lose Lily forever. In the days after the temporary ruling, the Carter home felt emptier than ever. Emma often paused outside Lily's room, staring at the wheelchair that sat untouched in the corner. Daniel lay awake night after night, Lily's cries of "Emma" replaying in his mind like a knife twisting deeper. But in their grief they both knew one thing: they could not give up. Lily needed them, and they would fight to bring her back. Emma reached out to her former colleagues in Boston, those who had once worked alongside her as a nurse. Through calls and letters she explained the situation, begging for their support. A week later, she held a stack of documents, letters of recommendation, professional evaluations, all praising her as one of the most dedicated and skilled pediatric nurses they had ever known. Meanwhile, Daniel hired one of the best family lawyers in Boston. The gray-haired attorney looked them both in the eye, speaking firmly. "We won't let Claire win this easily, but to succeed, we need undeniable proof that Lily is better off here." That opportunity came with an unexpected request. Lily's doctor recommended an independent evaluation from a neutral specialist. On the appointed day, Daniel and Emma were so tense they could hardly breathe. Lily was taken into a neutral medical office. As the door closed, the two sat outside, hands clasped tightly. An hour passed, then two. At last, the door opened. The independent physician, an older man, regarded them with grave yet compassionate eyes. "My conclusion is clear," he said. Since being separated from her father and current caregiver, Lily's mental and physical state has regressed significantly. She refuses to eat, refuses to cooperate with exercises, and shows early signs of depression. For her best interest, she must return to the environment where she was progressing. Tears welled in Emma's eyes. Daniel gripped her hand tightly. At last, a spark of hope had returned. The day of the new hearing arrived, the courtroom packed with tension. Claire sat beside her attorney, exuding confidence. Daniel and Emma entered, carrying a thick folder of evidence. Daniel's lawyer stood tall, his voice ringing clearly. "Your Honor, today we present undeniable proof. Mrs. Emma Brooks, real name Emma Collins, is a certified pediatric nurse with years of experience at a major hospital in Boston. We have here her records, as well as letters of verification from senior physicians." Claire leapt up, her voice sharp. "She's just a nanny. If she were truly a nurse, why didn't she say so from the beginning?" Emma rose, her voice trembling but resolute. "I didn't want to be judged by my credentials, but by my actions. But if revealing the truth means Lily can come home, then I will." Then the independent doctor took the stand. He read his findings aloud, detailing Lily's severe decline since being separated from Daniel and Emma. The courtroom fell silent. The judge pondered, then finally declared, "Based on medical evidence and in the best interest of the child, I hereby overturn the previous temporary ruling. Custody of Lily Carter is restored to her father, Mr. Daniel Carter, with the condition that Ms. Emma Collins serve as her official medical caregiver." The gavel struck. Emma broke into sobs, and Daniel wrapped his arms around her. When Daniel and Emma arrived at the place where Claire had kept Lily, they found the child curled in a corner, fragile and drained of color. For a heartbeat, the room was silent. Then Lily lifted her head, her weary eyes suddenly bursting into light. "Emma! Daddy!" Emma dropped to her knees, arms open, and Lily flew into them as though clinging to life itself. The girl burst into tears, her face pressed against Emma's shoulder. "I knew it. I knew you would come for me." Daniel enveloped them both, his voice choked. "No one will ever separate us again. You're home now, Lily." In that moment, they all understood. They hadn't just won a court case, they had won back the heart of a child. After the tearful reunion, the Carter home slowly filled again with laughter and warmth. Lily was more radiant than ever, and for the first time in years, Daniel felt a quiet peace blossoming in his heart. He often found himself watching Emma with Lily, the gentle way she bent down to tie the girl's hair, the tender smile when Lily completed a small task. And then Daniel realized his feelings had grown beyond gratitude. It was something deeper, something he thought he had lost forever after his wife's death. One evening, after Lily had gone to bed, Daniel and Emma sat together in the living room, the soft glow of the lamp casting shadows. Silence stretched between them, broken only by the ticking clock. Daniel hesitated, then spoke. "Emma, there's something I've held in my heart for too long. I'm not just grateful to you for saving Lily. I've begun to have feelings for you." Emma's eyes widened, her face pale. She shook her head quickly, as if refusing to believe what she had heard. "Mr. Carter, please don't say that. I can't." "Can't? Why not?" Daniel asked softly. Emma lowered her gaze, her voice trembling. "Because I'm afraid. I already lost everything once. I don't know if my heart can survive loving again." Daniel leaned closer, his tone warm and steady. "I understand that fear. But Emma, sometimes love is the only way to heal. I don't want to replace anyone. I just want to build something new, with you and with Lily." Emma's eyes brimmed with tears. For a fleeting moment, She longed to believe him, to rest against his shoulder. But hesitation still held her back. In the days that followed, the air between them grew slightly awkward. Emma avoided private moments with Daniel, pouring all her attention into Lily. But Lily was a perceptive child. One night, as Emma tucked her in, the little girl whispered, "Emma, you won't leave me, will you?" Emma froze, then gathered the child in her arms. "Why would you ask that, sweetheart?" "Because I see you and Daddy. Sometimes you seem nervous. I'm scared one day you'll go away, like Mommy did." The innocent words pierced Emma's heart. She stroked Lily's golden hair, her voice firm. "No, Lily, I'm not going anywhere. No matter what happens, I'll always be here with you." That night, Emma sat alone in the living room, wrestling with her thoughts. She knew her heart was no longer her own. It belonged to Lily, and in part to Daniel. Finally, on a quiet evening, Emma went to Daniel's study. He looked up, surprised. "Mr. Carter, I need to tell you something," Emma stammered. "Please don't call me Mr. Carter anymore. Call me Daniel," he said gently, his eyes warm. Emma drew a deep breath, meeting his gaze. "Daniel, I have feelings for you too. I'm afraid, but I can't deny it any longer." Daniel stepped closer, taking her hand in his. "You don't have to be afraid. We'll take it slow, step by step. What matters is, you've chosen to stay." Emma nodded softly, her eyes shining with tears. In that moment, both of them knew. A seed of love had truly taken root in the house that once knew only sorrow. As time passed, the Carter home grew full of simple joys. Yet within Daniel, one decision became clearer each day. He didn't just want Emma as Lily's caregiver, he wanted her to be a permanent part of their family. One evening, after Lily had gone to bed, Daniel led Emma out into the garden. The moonlight spread silver across the stone path. He turned to her, his eyes sincere. "Emma, these past months have changed all of us. Lily has found her smile again, and I've found faith in the future. And I realized I don't want to go through life without you by my side." From his pocket he pulled a small velvet box and opened it to reveal a sparkling ring. "Emma Brooks, will you marry me?" Emma gasped, her hands trembling as they covered her mouth. Tears welled in her eyes, but fear flickered in her heart. "Daniel, I don't know. What if we rush this and Lily gets hurt again?" Daniel took her hand, his gaze steady. "We won't do anything that would harm her. But Emma, I want us to be a real family." The next day, as Emma brushed Lily's hair, the little girl suddenly looked up, her eyes bright with hope. "Emma, will you be my real mom? I want to call you Mom." Emma's throat tightened as she hugged Lily close. That simple, honest request swept away her doubts. Weeks later, in a small church in Massachusetts, a simple but heartfelt wedding took place. Only their closest loved ones were present. Lily wore a white dress, sitting in her wheelchair as the flower girl, her face radiant like an angel. When the minister asked, "Do you, Daniel Carter, take Emma Brooks as your wife, to love and cherish her all your life?" Daniel answered without hesitation, "I do." And when it was Emma's turn, she looked at Daniel, then at Lily's shining eyes, filled with hope. A tearful smile spread across her lips. "I do." Applause erupted. Daniel clasped Emma's hand, while Lily joyfully embraced them both. From that moment on, they were no longer just a father, a nanny, and a child. They were, truly and forever, a family. Time passed, and the Carter family stepped into a new chapter full of hope. With her knowledge and experience, Emma decided to open a pediatric rehabilitation center in Boston. It was more than a profession. It was her way of honoring the memory of Sophie, the daughter she had lost. "If she were still here, she would want me to help other children," Emma often whispered, as if making a promise. Daniel, with his position and resources, devoted himself to supporting her dream. He established a charitable fund to help children with disabilities access better health care and education. These contributions not only transformed the lives of many children, but also gave him a sense of meaning that wealth alone could never provide. Lily, too, flourished. With Emma's love and patience, she began practicing walking with a support frame. Each shaky step was proof of her willpower and the power of love. The day Lily managed to stand on her own for a few seconds, Daniel and Emma wept like children. A few years later, their Massachusetts home echoed with the cries of a newborn. Emma had given birth to a healthy baby boy. They named him Chris, a symbol of a new, complete beginning. Lily embraced her little brother, her eyes sparkling with joy. "I promised I'd be a good big sister, and I will keep that promise." In that quiet home in Massachusetts, pain had not vanished, it had been reshaped. What once felt like an endless emptiness slowly became the soil where new love could grow. Daniel, Emma, and little Lily had walked through storms, faced loss, and nearly been torn apart. Yet in the end, they built something stronger than any of them had ever imagined. A true family. And maybe that is what life is trying to teach us. That even in our darkest hours, love has the power to return, to rebuild, and to give us a second chance. If Emma and Daniel found light after so much sorrow, perhaps we can believe it too. That love, patient and unyielding, can heal even the deepest wounds and turn tragedy into life's most precious miracle.